We are really excited as we transition into hour number 2 of today's show. Of course, We Own This City debuts tonight on HBO. And our next guest got back on the David Simon train for We Own This City. He plays former Baltimore Police Commissioner Kevin Davis. He is outstanding, and of course, you remember him as well, Sergeant Lansfield from The Wire. It is a pleasure for us to welcome into the program for the first time Mr. Delaney Williams, who's with us now here on GCR. Delaney, it's Glenn and Paul in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Hey, Glenn and Paul, thank you for having me.
So you really have not forgiven the Orioles for John Miller, still to this day?
No. I mean, I haven't. And, what has salved the wound a little bit is that my Washington Nationals are World Series champions. So,
yeah.
But let me tell you, this is the way it happened. I was born in Washington, D.C. I grew up here in the 60s, and I was a big Senators fan. In 1971, I had broken my leg, and I went down to the field on picture day on the last season before our Senators were stolen away again. And I got my picture taken with Frank Howard. He put his arm around me and said, "Hey, Tiger." And I was like, yes, that's my team. And then they were gone. And so I was an Orioles fan from that point forward. I took the 66 championship inside. I took 69, 70, 71. We had great teams. 79 was a great team, but we won't talk about that. We had Cal to the very end. And showing up at Camden Yards the first time, it was like, I am a devout atheist, but this is heaven. But then after that, and I'm a big Angelos fan because he wouldn't field a strike team, a team of scabs. One union strong. But everything else has been kind of scary and sad.
Not great. Yeah, it has not been great.
Yeah.
It has been a very difficult time period. You are not wrong about anything. And by the way, I also don't blame you. Like, I've talked about this before. There are plenty of Capitals fans in Baltimore. I am not one of them, right? But
I'm sorry to hear that.
I would like to hope. I don't hate them. I don't have anything against them. I'm just, I don't associate the same way, right?
Sure.
I would like to hope that if Baltimore, for whatever reason, would ever get a hockey team, then folks in Baltimore would root for that hockey team instead of rooting for the Capitals. I just feel like that's what makes sports fandom great, is when it's a touch, when you feel it, because it's impacting your own community. It's, you, I'm sure, especially in your business, meet plenty of people that are Lakers and Yankees and Notre Dame and Cowboys fans. And, like, what is the point of that? What is the point of being a sports fan just to randomly choose some team that you have no connection with whatsoever?
Yeah, I don't know. I've done that with the Premier League. Today, Crystal Palace, my team, is going to take Leeds and spank them. Go you Palace, go you Glazers, up Palace. But more to the point, in Baltimore, you did have a hockey team. I think it was an affiliate of the Capitals.
That is true. The
Skipjacks.
Yes,
sir. You could play downtown.
Yes, sir.
So I'm thinking you should lead the charge to bring the
Skipjacks home. I am for it. We got it. They're redoing the arena. They're remodeling the arena. They need a tenant. They need some more dates filled. Let's go. You know what, Delaney Williams? You've inspired me this morning. Let's make this happen.
I think this is the way we're going to go.
He's the second person to put that on your shoulders in the last few days.
You know what? That's actually a really good point. I have had some requests. All right, fine. This is a burden.
Destiny, brother.
I've got to make it happen. Delaney, I'm so glad to talk to you, man. And not just about how thick Josh laid the accent on in the show. We'll get to that later on. The show is wonderful. I got the opportunity last week to sit down and binge it all, and we all knew it would be wonderful. And to me, that's almost what I feared the most, is like our expectations for this show, because Justin's book is so good, and because it's David, and it's so many familiar faces to us. I worried that our expectations were so sky high. Did you almost have any concern, any trepidation, getting back involved, saying, hey, people are going to think this is going to be The Wire, the greatest show in television history? That's a really high standard. Were you almost worried about getting involved with this project because of that?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay.
I mean, you never think about it that way. That doesn't make – I understand it, and I knew that was a concern, and I know that's a concern for the producers, but they don't care and I don't care. It has nothing to do with The Wire. This is Justin Fenton's brilliant book brought to life. So mostly it's not the fictionalized story that The Wire was telling about the city.
Mm-hmm.
This is particular and specific. It is indicative of the kind of stuff that's 20 years later the same in Baltimore and in many major cities. But I'd say, no, it's not The Wire 2. You shouldn't be looking for The Wire 2. I'm not playing Jay Landsman. I'm playing the Deputy Commissioner and then Commissioner Kevin Davis. And what we're doing is we're bringing Justin's reporting to life, really. So that, yes, it's in a way that we're trying to get more eyeballs. It is a television show. It is an HBO show. And, think of it as the story further along, but you're not looking at a fiction. You're looking at the reality of today in Baltimore. And the people of Baltimore, I ran into folks who were like, yeah, I know this guy, and I know that guy, and I know this guy. And I had the chance, graciously and generously, Kevin Davis agreed to have lunch with me and share his perspective on the events of surrounding the Freddie Gray and the Gun Trace Task Force during his tenure there. So I want to thank him in particular. But watch it for its own. You're going to watch this show because you know that you're going to get something you don't expect, something you don't see anywhere else, and as David Simon says, we are the PBS of HBO, so watch it for that.
You mentioned, obviously, you got to know Kevin. Look, there are a lot of questions that I think both the book and the show are demanding of us. I've talked before, I think one of the questions is how corruptible are all of we, right? I think that's one of them. But I think in particular, there's a question that's being demanded by both, which is how could more people not have known? And in you in particular, especially in your role, and there's one scene, and I'm not going to try to give too much away about it, but it feels like some of that is coming out. Did you find yourself asking the same question as you dove into the character, as you dove into the story? How could this have been going on without more people knowing? Do you have doubt about how many more people might have known?
I don't know. I don't have doubt about how many more people might have known. I think many more people knew, and many more people always know.
Yeah. And
occasionally it takes the courage of the individual to have that story break out, and usually it takes the courage of the electorate to make the change, and to protect from. Right now, we're watching a lot of effort being put into not having free elections, not having correct information out there. And I don't know. What was the question again? I think I went off on a tangent.
No. I by the way, I share your frustrations. Yeah, I share them quite well. No, just about how many more people could have known, and how you convey that part of the story, that it lingers over. As much as the story is about Wayne Jenkins and the GTTF, the second, and Sean Suiter, of course, the secondary part of the story that we are still struggling within this city and the years that have followed is, how many more people could have known? How corrupt is all of this? And how do you convey all of that? Because that's clearly such a part of the story for this show.
Well, I think that Sean Suiter's the perfect example.
Yep.
He's the perfect example of no matter who the viewer of this story is, they can put themselves in his position. And I think the same can be said of all of the individuals on, from Commissioner Davis to every street officer in the Gun Trace Task Force to every police officer in the city and every member of the community can look at Sean Suiter's situation and say, what do I do? This is, for him in particular, a life and death question. And for everybody else, it's about your entire life, I think, and how you live that life. So we get to see that not everybody steps up.
Yep.
We hope that we would step up. A lot more people know about it, and we hope that they will step up.
What you, sir, are able to convey as an actor with something as simple as a facial expression, with something as simple as a sigh, is incredibly powerful. Can you? Obviously, you are an actor, right? Like, so we know it's your art, it's your gift, it's what you do. But we've seen an awful lot of it from you now over the years. Where does that in particular, what you're able to do just with your facial expressions and a sigh, where did that come? Was that something learned? Was it something innate? Because you are so capable of conveying so much with so little.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. I really appreciate it. It's kind of the pride of trying not to take too much pride, but the pride of my craft, of my art, is conveying without anything. The writer's already written the story. And my job is to exist in the story and present that person as fully as possible. And so it's for me, it's a question of not creating things. It's a question of not making Kevin Davis, but living Kevin Davis for the time that we're in that moment, because we're seeing a moment from when he walks into the room to when he walks out of the room at the end of the scene. And we're only seeing that moment. So I have to fight against giving you more, against, like you say, knowing that I know and that character knows and that the actor knows. I just want the person to know in that moment so that we can see how that moment happens to him. And then you get to see, especially in the medium of film and television, you get to see pretty close exactly what he's thinking. And if the actor, I feel like if the actor isn't thinking what the character is thinking at that moment, then you can see it as an audience member. So that's the way I go about it anyway.
There is the one scene, and again, I don't want to give anything away because we're getting
no spoilers. You've seen more than I've seen. I've only seen the first episode.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it, just like everybody else.
The one scene, and I think you know because it's the important scene when the commissioner walks in. Can you take me through that particular scene? And did you always know exactly what you were doing? Is exactly how it was written? Because I'm waiting. Having read the book, I'm waiting for this scene, and it somehow was even more powerful to me than what I expected from reading the book.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. I don't want to spoil.
I know. This makes it very difficult. It makes it so difficult because I need everybody to see this and understand what I'm talking about.
Everybody's got about 10 hours
right.
or so, however long, to read Justin Fenton's book first. And then start watching the show and then make your own judgments about everything that happens in there. But that, the interesting part of that scene, if I remember correctly, is another bit of TV movie magic. We shot for 4 or 5 months in the fall. That was one of my first days. It was back in late July. And so we were shooting a scene from later in the story for all of these people at the very beginning. So you basically have to have lived all of the stuff you're going to do over the next 4 months in terms of the actor knowing what's happened to this character. And then that person has to show up on the very first day. And so that's what I remember most about that was like, okay.
We're getting right to it, right?
We're getting right to it. We're getting right to it today. And it was so great because I got to play with John Bernthal. Johnny and I have worked together on a couple shows.
That's cool.
I've worked on his show, The Punisher, on Netflix. And on this. And, of course, he's a DC boy, too. I never actually get to have, like, scenes with him, and I'm going to call that our scene together.
Oh, I mean, it qualifies, right? Like, it definitely qualifies.
The next time we get to work together, we're actually going to have scenes. I know it.
It was, dude, it is, Delaney, it is a really powerful scene, man. It is a show-making scene in We Own This City. Just being back, Delaney Williams is with us just another couple of minutes as we get ready for We Own the City. He, of course, plays Commissioner Kevin Davis. I know, as we said, this is not The Wire 2, but just being back in Baltimore and being around these folks that you had worked with before Can you put into words what it meant to you? You know, we're talking 20 years later, right? This is the 20th anniversary of the first season of The Wire. What it meant to you to be able to revisit some of that in doing this show?
Kind of. I didn't know. I didn't expect that it would be as thrilling as it was, because I knew it was going to be, nostalgic and reminiscent of good times and bad times 20 years ago. All of it. But when I first we shot the first season of The Wire. Of course, most of my scenes were in the homicide unit. And we shot that in the first season on the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh floor of 100 North Charles Street,
yep.
the skyscraper in downtown Baltimore. You all know it. Then we moved out the sound stages for the next 4 seasons. But we came back and shot in the exact same building almost 20 years to the day from my first day working on The Wire. And that kind of had me wandering around. The PA was like, "Come on, we got to go to set." And I was like, "I need to take a minute here."
Wow.
So I kind of wandered around the building and remembered 20 years ago and everything after.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, that's so
cool. It was
cool.
sort of a spiritual experience for me.
That's
at
awesome.
100 North Charles.
That's awesome. So Josh just put back on me. So Josh is our buddy. Of course, I mean, Josh is everybody's friend in this city, as you know.
He's everybody's friend.
So he just pushed back, as I said, he was laying. And he and I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I don't think he laid. He's saying he didn't lay into the accent any thicker than if I had heard Herschel. That's exactly. And I believe that, right? I completely believe it. I am just convinced that Josh could. It's hard to me imagine anybody else having more fun with a character than Josh was having with this unrepentant asshole. Like, just unbelievable, and with this thick Baltimore accent. I have to imagine that he was having just the joy of his life with that character, being able to do those things. Can you confirm or deny said belief that I have?
Okay. Well, I absolutely agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
But I can't confirm nor deny, because we actually, I think I saw
I guess that's true. You didn't really.
Day.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think on set maybe 1 day or 2 days total. And I'd have to say that what I've seen in the first episode, it might be dead solid perfect.
Right. The moment I saw it, I said, "My God, this was meant for him." Like, this was the moment, man. Like, it is so unbelievably thick. It's so Baltimore, and he's such an asshole, and it's just so perfect. It is so perfect.
Shall we call him the poster child of Baltimore asshole?
I think. Oh boy, Are we saying that about Herschel, or are we saying that about Josh Charles? Because I'm good either way.
Yeah, no,
honestly.
I'm done. Are we done? Is this interview over?
Delaney Williams, it is such a joy to chat with you, my friend. It really, I am so happy that you were a part of this thing, and you brought so much to Kevin Davis. Is there anything else we can plug for you that you have going on? I know you're on Twitter. Like, what could we get a plug in for you for?
Let's see. What am I doing? Oh, you know what? I'm working Trader Joe's later today. I got a shift there. But after my shift, I'm going to be live tweeting on Twitter.
During the show. Okay.
When the show comes up. And also, my gig for my other side gig, actor side gig, for the last 15 years or so has been narrating audiobooks for the blind for the National Library Service, for the blind and print disabled, for the Library of Congress. So please spread the word about that program.
Wow, that's really cool. That's a really cool side hustle. That's very, very neat. At Delaney.
Yeah, it makes me feel good, and it's a side hustle as well.
Oh, I mean, everybody's got to work. I get it, man. Like,
and it's amazing. I mean,
you talk about Trader Joe's.
They've been doing free books for the blind for 50, 60, 70 years, I think, out of that studio.
Wow, that's powerful. That's incredible. At Delaney Williams on Twitter, that's how you follow him. Delaney Williams, thank you for taking the time for us this morning, my friend. And truly cannot tell you how much we enjoyed the show, your performance. And we want to do a big 20th anniversary celebration later on this year, so we're going to be in touch with you because we're going to do a big week celebrating The Wire, if that's all right.
Absolutely. Thanks. And it was a great pleasure speaking to you
Thank
you
you
today. And everybody watch the show tonight. And if you don't watch it tonight, watch it soon. It's streaming all the time, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it'll be right up on HBO Max, right? I'm almost certain of that. Absolutely. Thank you, Delaney.
Thank you.
Delaney Williams, again, plays Commissioner Kevin Davis in We Own This City, which debuts tonight on HBO.